Fujian Province, in what meteorologists are calling one of the most volatile starts to the annual flood season in recent memory, East China's Fujian Province was plunged into a state of emergency on Thursday, May 14, 2026. A relentless barrage of torrential rain, driven by a powerful moisture-laden atmospheric river from the South China Sea, has inundated vast swaths of the province, causing rivers to breach their banks, triggering mudslides, and forcing the displacement of thousands of residents. The Provincial Flood Control and Drought Relief Headquarters officially activated a Level 4 emergency response early Thursday morning as the scale of the precipitation became clear. By noon, the situation had escalated in several northern and central prefectures, leading to a scramble for resources as emergency crews battled rising waters. The crisis began in the late hours of Wednesday, May 13th, but intensified dramatically during the early morning hours of May 14th. In the provincial capital, Fuzhou, residents woke up to a gray wall of rain. The National Meteorological Center, NMC, had previously issued a blue alert for the region, but the localized intensity of the downpour in Fujian surpassed many initial forecasts. According to data from the Fujian Meteorological Bureau, Nanping City and Saming City recorded the highest levels of precipitation, with some stations reporting over 120 millimeters of rain within a 6-hour window. The Min River, the largest waterway in the province, saw its water levels rise at an alarming rate of nearly 30 centimeters per hour in its upper reaches. By mid-afternoon on May 14th, the rain belt had shifted slightly southward, bringing intense pressure to Pu'er and the coastal economic hub of Guangzhou. Meteorologists attribute this extreme weather to a perfect storm of climatic factors. A strong flow of warm, moist air from the western Pacific collided with a stationary cold front hovering over the Wuyi Mountains. This interaction created a training effect, where successive cells of heavy thunderstorms moved over the same areas repeatedly, leading to catastrophic runoff. The deluge has effectively paralyzed the province's transportation network. The Fuzhou-Guangzhou Highway, a critical artery for the region's economy, was described by commuters as a waterway rather than a road. Visibility dropped to less than 50 meters during the peak of the storm, and several sections of the highway were closed due to standing water and the risk of hydroplaning. Fuzhou Changle International Airport reported over 150 flight cancellations and hundreds of delays as ground crews struggled to operate safely in the torrential conditions. High-speed rail services linking Fujian to Guangdong and Zhejiang provinces were significantly throttled. Authorities imposed speed restrictions of 120 kilometers per hour on lines usually capable of 300 kilometers per hour, citing the risk of trackbed erosion and debris on the lines. In the interior mountainous regions, the situation was even more dire. Small-scale landslides were reported in Longyan, cutting off access to several rural villages. Power grids in these areas suffered localized outages as falling trees and mud flows took down distribution lines, leaving an estimated 45,000 households without electricity. The Chinese government's response has been swift but faces immense logistical hurdles. Under the Level 4 response, all relevant departments have been placed on 24-hour standby. In Saming, emergency responders used inflatable dinghies to evacuate elderly residents from low-lying shanty neighborhoods where water had reached waist-deep levels. Footage shared on social media showed rescuers wading through muddy currents, carrying children on their backs to safety. "The water came so fast," said Zhang Wei, a resident of a riverside community in Nanping. "One moment the street was just wet, and an hour later, the water was coming through my front door. We had to leave everything behind." As of Thursday evening, provincial authorities confirmed that over 12,000 people had been relocated to temporary shelters, including schools and sports stadiums. These facilities have been stocked with emergency rations, clean water, and medical supplies to prevent the outbreak of waterborne diseases. Fujian's robust agricultural sector is expected to take a significant hit. The timing of the flood is particularly unfortunate for farmers in the northern valleys, who are in the midst of harvesting tea and early-season crops. Tea plantations, the famous tea-growing regions of the Wuyi Mountains, have faced soil erosion. Heavy rain not only damages the delicate leaves but also makes the steep hillsides inaccessible for pickers. Aquaculture. In coastal Pu'er, There are concerns that the massive influx of freshwater into the bays will disrupt the salinity levels required for commercial oyster and shrimp farming, potentially leading to millions of dollars in losses. Industrial zones in Quanzhou and Xiamen are also on high alert. While these cities have modern drainage systems, the sheer volume of water has tested their limits. Factories have been advised to secure hazardous materials and move finished goods to higher ground. The ordeal is far from over. The National Meteorological Center warns that the rain belt will persist over Fujian through Friday, May 15th. There is a high risk of secondary disasters, such as delayed onset landslides and dam breaches, as the soil is now completely saturated. Official safety guidelines issued on May 14th. Avoid mountainous areas. Residents are strictly forbidden from entering hiking trails or valleys, where flash floods can occur without warning. Stay indoors. Unless an evacuation order is issued, citizens are urged to stay home and avoid unnecessary travel. Monitor official channels. With misinformation often spreading during disasters, the government has urged the public to follow updates from the Fujian flood control, official apps, and state media. As night falls on May 14, 2026, the people of Fujian remain in a state of high vigilance. The sounds of sirens and the relentless drumming of rain on rooftops serve as a somber reminder of nature's power. While the province's infrastructure is far more resilient than it was a decade ago, the increasing frequency of these extreme weather events, potentially linked to the broader trend of global climate volatility, presents a persistent challenge to one of China's most vital coastal provinces. The coming 24 hours will be critical. As the waters continue to rise, the focus remains squarely on the zero-casualty goal set by provincial leadership. For now, Fujian waits for the clouds to break, hoping for a respite from a spring season that has turned unexpectedly perilous.
Pu'er.